Now, over the past few years in this country, we've seen a steady trickle of cars coming in from what we call the Pacific Rim. On the whole, they've been awful, and on the whole, we've ignored them.
Yeah, but now that trickle has turned into a flood. So we thought it'd be a good idea to gather them all together, not the off-roaders or the sports coupes, and then see if, in that kind of oyster-like sea of mucus, whether we could find a pearl.
The reason you might be tempted by one of these is that they are cheap, and I mean really, really cheap, much cheaper than anything you'd get from Japan or Europe.
This one, classic case in point. I've chosen it because I'm standing near it. It's the Kia Rio, apparently. Same size as a Golf, but it costs the same as a ham sandwich. You get 5 doors, a 1.3-litre engine, a heater and a 3-year warranty, all for less than £8,000. Sounds good, but there are 1 or 2 drawbacks. The engine is remarkable. For most of the time there's no power at all. And then you get a little burp of torque. Where did that come from? And then it's gone again. 0 to 60, 14 seconds. Top speed, 100 miles an hour. 100. It's a good job it's down on power, though, because it is a bit of a woolly handler. Of course, you probably think, I'm not interested in performance, I just want something cheap to get me to the shops. Might I suggest a pogo stick or a space hopper, because they would be more comfortable. And then there's the noise. It is so loud and so intrusive all the time. You long for the moment when you can put it into fifth to shut it up. But then, of course, when you do that, you get to another hill and you grind to a halt. 30, 25, 19, 15. Come on. Come on. Last time I looked, Kia was sponsoring the Pedestrian Association's bus walking scheme, the idea being that parents sort of gather a large group of children together in the morning and then walk them to school. I can see why. If I had one of these, I'd want to walk as well. The Rio, then, is sleep-inducingly awful. It's hard to think of any car which could possibly be worse.
Oh, no, it isn't. This is the Hyundai Accent 1.5 diesel. It too is a 5-door hatchback, and it cost £9,400. For that you get, well, it's like a car really, only not quite as good. Now the real problem in here is the unrelenting greyness of it. The steering wheel is grey, the dashboard is grey, the seats are grey, the top of the gear knob is grey, the handbrake is grey, the door trims are grey, the pillars are grey, the sun visor is grey. It is so grey in here that it makes HMS Belfast look like one of Paul Smith's shirts. But the interior is not the worst bit. That'll be the engine. It's a 1.5 diesel, and for some reason I don't quite understand. It only has 3 cylinders. Now, I'm not what you'd call a performance driver, but I do like to get there eventually. And this car is slow. To give you an idea of how long this car takes to get from 0 to 60 miles per hour, I'm going to do it for you in real time. Go. Wait for it. And we're there. If you happen to be sitting at home and on the coffee table in front of you, you've got the brochure for the Hyundai Accent, can I just implore you, please, not to do it? Buy a Fiesta, buy a second-hand Golf, go on holiday, anything. Don't do it.
You're not seriously suggesting, are you, that that's worse than the Rio?
Oh, yeah.
In what way?
How many cylinders have you got?
4 cylinders, which are all dreadful.
This is a diesel, and it's got 3 cylinders. You're not listening? Why would you have a 3-cylinder diesel? I don't get it. It's pointless.
But I will say this, okay? I may have 4 cylinders. Mario is defeated by a hill.
This is defeated by a bend.
Really?
Oh yeah, it's finally going after about 20 minutes of brutal 3-cylinder acceleration, and then you get to a bend and you think, better back off, and then after you've backed off you think, oh no, I backed off.
And this one's called a what? This is a Hyundai...
Accident.
Accident.
Yeah.
So you see really the scale of the problem we're facing here. We picked 2 cars out at random and they're both absolute rubbish. I wouldn't mind, but all of these Pacific Rimmers, they've all got such stupid names.
The Serato, the Lassetti, the Picanto, they sound like 3-piece suites from DFS. The Proton Linda Barker.
Next year, Daewoo are changing their name, and I'm not joking, to Chevrolet. That's a brilliant idea. I'm going to change my name to George Clooney. It'll make me attractive and you'll all want to sleep with me. At this point, we really should get back to the job in hand, working out if any of these cars are any good. So let's start by eliminating those which are so ugly you couldn't possibly think about buying one. The Daewoo Takuma, for instance. They may say it's extra cool, but trust me on this. It isn't. The only way you could possibly drive this car is with a box on your head, so no one can tell it's you.
When we'd got rid of the Takuma and all the others that were aesthetically challenged, we were left with just 6. We have the Proton Gen 2, the Hyundai Getz, the Perodua Kalisa, the Kia Picanto, and the Kia Magentis.
Ah yes, the Kia Magentis. Now this is the size of a Mondeo, but the price of a Ford Fiesta. I drove a manual one of these the other day and I could not believe it. It went 1st, 2nd, 7th, 8th, 9th. Now I know what they're doing. They're saying, look, you've got 2 gears for quick acceleration and then 3 for good fuel economy. But actually the acceleration wasn't that good, the fuel economy wasn't that good, and you had nothing in the middle. This one has an automatic, and that makes it, well, worse, really. Added to that, you hit your head every time you get in, it's noisy, and actually looking at it, how on earth did it get through our styling force field? There's a very good reason why it's cheap. I've had enough. I've driven this car for long enough, and I'm getting out. I'm sorry, I'm not driving this car anymore.
Maybe we'll fare better with something from Malaysia, a Proton. Now, the last Proton I drove was something called the Impian. It was a very long journey, and the car was so awful that, to be honest, I wanted to harm myself. But this is the new Gen 2 at £9,500, and it seems much more promising. I like the look of the thing, I really do. I like the price. I don't even mind the gold lame gear knob and stereo. Proton these days owns Lotus, and Lotus helped them develop this twin-cam 1.6-litre engine and various bits of the suspension. Because of its connections, Proton is claiming sporty handling for the new Gen 2. But I can't help feeling that at this level, it's not really the priority. I mean, I'd gladly trade my Lotus-developed suspension for some Toyota-developed door trim.
Our quest to find a decent car from Korea or Malaysia was not going well, so we decided to do a handling test, which went badly. I'm gone! The seats in this Perodua were so useless I ended up on the wrong side of the car. It's hard to really make a judgment, to be honest, about the handling from over here, because... Oh, God. This isn't teaching me anything. I'm gonna be sick. After that, we decided not to do any more handling tests. Let's get back to something more pertinent. This is a Kia something or other. It's the Picanto. And it'll cost you £6,995, of which Tony Blair takes a slice in tax for the government. The dealer takes a slice, the importer takes a slice, the shipping company that brought it over takes a slice. We reckon this car costs somewhere between £2,000 and £2,500 to build. And don't think that Korean labour rates are cheap, because car workers over there are paid pretty much exactly the same as the ones in Britain. So you have to think the raw materials used to make this thing can't have cost more than a tenner. It costs Volkswagen £200 to buy a set of 4 fuel injectors for the Golf diesel. Kia could probably make a couple of cars for that. Don't think, however, that because Korean cars are cheap to make, that they're cheap to run. Spare parts are often more expensive than you might think, and for Pete's sake, don't forget about depreciation. These cars may be cheap to buy, but the second-hand market is full of European and Japanese cars at bargain prices. So these Pacific Rimmers have to fall a long, long way to find a buyer.
The upshot is simple. If your neighbour has a car from Korea or Malaysia, is always banging on about how good it is, you can tell him it's worse than yours, and more expensive in the long run, unless it's one of these. It's the Hyundai Getz, widely touted as the wisest Pacific Rim buy on the UK market. As a 1.3 CDX, it costs £9,645, or about the same as a 1.4 VW Lupo. And it really isn't bad. It looks European, because it looks like a VW. Come on, the interior, compared with all those other cars, is better.
Oh, it is better.
Look at those dials, that's, you know, that's
No, it is.
fine.
You say it's like a Volkswagen. It's like sitting in a Volkswagen Polo. No, I'm going with that.
The engine's reasonably refined.
Quite spacious.
It even goes reasonably quickly.
Unfortunately, there is one colossal problem. It's as good as a European car because it costs the same as a European car. So the only reason for buying Korean is gone. So we've really wasted the viewer's time.
Yeah, a lot of it as well. I mean, how many cars did we start with?
We started with 27 cars or something.
We've narrowed it down to 1.
And we don't like
And
it.
we still don't like it. I'm going the scenic route, picking fruit.
I do apologise, we've wasted your evening. There are no good Korean or Malaysian cars.
Normal Top Gear will be resumed as soon as possible.
We were asking, the producer said, don't you dare come back without finding one that you like. And we can't.
Seriously though. Seriously, it can't all be bad.
No, this Getz is good, but
Yeah.
the point is, this is the point that Jeremy was trying to make, is it costs the same as a VW. So why would you have that?
No, I'll take the point.
My biggest problem with all of these cars, though, these Korean and Malaysian ones, is that they make them like white goods. They're just like fridge freezers with wheels. They're just tools. There's no soul. There's no passion. And frankly, anyone can do that. In fact, we have. Under here, we have built our own Korean car. Okay? You want to see this? Right, James, are you ready?
I am.
3, 2, 1. Reveal the car. You're already interested, aren't you, in it?
Fantastic.
Look at that.
That's the most interesting car we've had in this section of the programme,
It
actually.
is.
Now, just to tell you a bit about it, the wheels are made from the drums of old tumble dryers. These ones still have some khaki dacks in, if you look carefully. This rear spoiler is actually the door of a chest freezer.
Yeah. Speaking of doors, this one, hinged, obviously, is from a fridge. The seats, if you come around here, you can see, are 2 microwave ovens. We step in, we find that the dash is, well, it's the controls from a washing machine. And here, which is where the soap goes, apparently, I think that could be an ashtray. Works well. You haven't seen the best bit, though, yet. Because you think this is just like, you know, a static display. This is British engineering, right? This is showing the Koreans what a white good really is. Are we ready? Check it out! Steering, you what, it's a damn sight faster than that Kia Rio, and I think we can get wheel spin. Ready for some wheel spin? Look at that! Wheel spin! And it's not a one-way street either, this. Ready? Look at this! And actually, we reckon we could put this into production and make a profit of £4,500. I'd buy one.
It sounds better than that Hyundai accident I drove, actually. And stop. Here, Jezza, mate. Put your pants at that one.